Classic one.
Yeah.
call it.
And I'll take all the unders on the lines.
Oof. What is their over-under set at?
I think it's 10.5.
You're taking under 10.5?
Yeah.
Sloppy is coaching and scheme and communication. And it's coordinating. And what did the Lions do? They didn't just lose 2 coordinators. They lost the talk of the league at offensive coordinator Ben Johnson of the Bears and Aaron Glenn, who somehow got the Lions to a top 10 total defense, despite the fact it was with Band-Aids, Bondo, smoke and mirrors because everybody was hurt.
All right, what's happening, everybody? What's happening to you, man?
How are you?
In person.
In person,
yes.
Long overdue.
Yeah, long overdue. I'm so excited to be here. Obviously, I don't live in Detroit anymore, but we're in Detroit filming this.
Yes, sir.
And as you guys could see by the intro, we're going to be talking a little bit of Lions. I think you're probably the most like in tune, in tap Lions fan that I know. Like
I'm up
just
there.
Watching the camp reports, like you know, like the second string kicker, you know where he lives. You're
sure,
like,
dude.
But I think you know, obviously you have a lot to say about it, the team, and I'm pretty happy like letting you cook for a lot of this. But
sure.
I do want to kind of create a little bit of a backdrop, maybe thematically about kind of where I am on this team and kind of what I'm seeing from media, from just from football talk in general.
Sure.
I think right now there's 2 things happening at once. I think the first thing is the football world, if you will, is kind of broken up into a couple of camps when it comes to their feeling about the Lions entering the season. I think the first camp is a larger camp. It's the more consensus camp. It's definitely the majority of kind of your FS1s, your ESPN opinions, and kind of your bigger football talk, which basically consists of the belief that the loss of the coordinators, particularly Ben Johnson, who in their view was kind of the bus driver of the offense, the brainchild of the offense, the whiz kid of the offense.
Yeah.
Him taking the job in Chicago is going to be a massive detriment to the football team.
Mm-hmm.
Jared Goff's not that good. And really the scheme and the trickery and the cleverness that Ben brought to the offense was kind of everything. And that's why we've been, you know, top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 the last couple of years offensively. The other group, which is obviously, you know, where you fall and where a lot of people do fall too. I don't want to make it sound like it's not 50-50, but I think it's a more 65-35 demographic. I think that group is kind of the belief that talent wins. Mm-hmm. And also from the coaching front that Dan Campbell is the one who knocks.
Yes.
Dan Campbell's Heisenberg. Like, Ben Johnson was Jesse Pinkman.
Yep.
And I think that there is a reason to believe in either thing, but I want you to kind of tell me where you are with some of this, the team, and as we kind of unpack it for the next 15 minutes, where you're thinking.
Yeah, I mean, my belief is, like you just said, it's really easy to look at, you know, the jump that was made from 2021 to 2022, and then obviously we start off, you know, 1-6, and then we're the hottest team in football coming off of the end of 2022. We send Aaron Rodgers packing. We don't, you know, we didn't make the playoffs, and everybody, the talk was kind of like, man, if the Lions would have made the playoffs, they would have been the scariest team to see. And it's like, I love that. That's fun, but that is part of the culture that was built here. You know what I mean? This is all part of the plan. And when you look at, like, actually when Ben Johnson took over, right? It was week 2, 2022. We were playing the Commanders. Carson Wentz led Commanders team. We won that.
Rivera, head coach.
We won that game barely, and then we proceeded to lose the next, I believe, 5 out of 6.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like when Ben Johnson took over, there was this huge like difference, and we ended up, you know, we looked like an entirely different offense. What happened is that, you know, Amon-Ra took a huge step that year. You had Penei Sewell take a huge step that year. Jared got comfortable within the system that was let me be clear, a Dan Campbell system. And Ben Johnson obviously thrived in that system. This is not me coming on here to poo-poo Ben Johnson at all. I think he's a really good coach, and I think he's a great offensive mind. I just think that he's a bigger get for Chicago than he is a loss for us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So when I look at the years, and it's like, oh yeah, but in 2023 you guys were so good. Yeah, of course we were. We added Jamyr Gibbs, we added David Montgomery, we added J-Mo, who was healthy.
Yep.
We added Laporta came in that year. Brian
Campbell.
Branch came in that year.
Jack
Campbell came in that. I mean,
Yep.
you're talking about those 6 players. Those 6 players are 6 of the 9 players who absolutely are staples on our team.
That's the core.
100%.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and
of
you had
course,
more development from guys like Hutch.
100%. Hutch
more-
took a giant step.
Yeah,
Even
Panay.
from 20. Panay took another
Yeah,
step.
yeah.
He all pro.
Yeah.
Amon-Ra, all pro. You know,
It-
the problem I have is that Ben Johnson has never taken a snap of NFL football.
Right.
So I'm not going to go out there and give, Jared Goff's going to suck now. No, Jared Goff's been one of the best quarterbacks in the league the last 3 years. And I'm sorry that he didn't thrive in a system that had DeAndre Swift, Quintez Cephas, and DJ Chark as his top three weapons even.
Yeah, and only like one offensive lineman in Decker who was good, and then a rookie Panay who was
Yeah.
still developing.
And Ragnar was hurt that entire year, by the way.
Yeah,
too,
yeah, and the
2021.
defense was bad. I mean,
Defense was terrible.
Yeah.
And the thing is like if you were there in 21, like there were so many games that we were absolutely fully in.
Mm-hmm.
And we proceeded to lose, I think, 15 of them,
Yep.
14 of them, whatever. I mean, whatever we ended up being that year. I think we had three wins, but
Mm-hmm.
that team never died. They didn't fall over and get killed by really anybody. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like they always had fight in them. And you could see that like you're coming from being like the lovable loser of the NFL for so many years. And everybody thinks this coach is a loser, right? Kneecaps. Oh my God, this guy's so unserious. He comes with the racing helmet on. You got people like Joy Taylor. Enjoy retirement though, sweetheart, because you got kicked off TV.
Smoked.
This is who we're choosing over black coaches, and it's like, okay, but we have a black GM. Like,
Yeah.
What are you even saying right now?
Yeah.
You know,
I think it was a
it's-
lot of like it was also that moment in time in the country
Yes,
of
100%,
having that
100%.
conversation that bled into a lot of sports
So
stuff.
so I say
Yeah.
I say all this to say is that I think you're probably going to see a little regression in the offense, but the difference is that the people who are waiting for our downfall, like you were speaking about, I think they're thinking we're going to go from like the first to top 3 ranked offense to like bottom 10.
Yeah.
I think the fall off is going to be maybe top 3 to top 7.
Yeah.
I think we're definitely still going to. There's too much offensive talent to fall off that much.
I agree.
Without obviously barring like a catastrophic injury. If Panay gets hurt or Jared gets hurt, like, we're probably cooked.
That's
but
anybody. You got to enter.
no, 100%.
Yeah, you can't even like think that way because
Yeah.
it's any team that's going to deal with it. But
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up the past because I do think that there is. I talked about the reasoning behind kind of this divide. But I think that is like the justification for the take. I
Yes.
think the base
Agreed.
for the take is emotional.
Yes.
And I think the feeling is, just in my anecdotally, I think a lot of people really fell in love with this football team the last couple of
Rightfully
years.
so.
Right. We talked about it like the South Park meme
Yeah.
and the Dan Campbell and the grit and the kind of the hard knocks of it all and the Aiden hometown and the Goff redemption. And I think last year there was a huge bandwagon of casuals and just kind of, secondary teams. Obviously, Lions fans are Lions fans. Of
course.
But I'm talking kind of everybody
Yeah.
buying into
Greater
this
America.
run of like, this is the year.
Yeah.
And I think they pooped their pants in the playoff game. And a lot of people are kind of going, you know what? I think who's next? Like, who's up
Yeah.
on? You guys
Yeah,
had your
yeah,
chance with your
yeah.
cute little thing and your
Yes.
grit and your Campbell, but
Yeah.
I think I'm good. I think I'm ready to kind of move on to. Is it the Jags this year?
Yeah.
Who is it? Like, who's the
and
next
it's
team that I'm
somebody
early
who-
on?
Is somebody who's not bandwagon and who's just been through the absolute slop with this team.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
I like being that position.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anybody who watches this team closely and know, like the way I do, right? I mean, you're listening to all these reports, you're listening to each coordinator talk, you know what's going on with the roster. Like the thing is that people don't realize that when Aleem went down in that Buffalo game, it was over. There was no redemption. There was nothing that was going to happen that was
Right.
going to help us go on a run. And we did we had I'll give credit where it's due. Aaron Glenn masterclass against the Vikings, which is unfortunate that it wasn't technically a playoff game because it really was, right? The 1 seed's on the line. Like, that's a big difference. You got a home playoff game on the line. You get the 1 seed on the line. It's a division rival. You got the division on the line.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the division.
Yeah,
because I do think that part of the equation for me, and just to be clear to Lions fans, non-Lions fans, anybody watching, we're picking the Lions, and it's not an emotional take. And I'll explain why. I think a big part of this is there's a little propaganda going on in the NFL, and it's not like unjustified because of what happened last year with the division.
Sure.
I just think the NFC North, the people are trying to create this kind of super division out of these teams, and I just think that every team, including the Lions to a lesser degree, but not up as far as the Lions. I do have a couple question marks with some of these other teams. Chicago won 5 games last year. Green Bay, I thought, looked really inconsistent. If you actually looked at their schedule, they went 0-2 against Philly, including the playoffs.
Yep.
They went 1-5 in division, and the one win was on a blocked field goal against Chicago.
They beat one team over 500.
Right, and you mentioned the Vikings, who were lights out last year, 14-3, healthy core.
Yep.
And when it counted, which was the kind of bubble tournament play-in style playoff game that you mentioned with Detroit, and the playoff game against the Rams, they sucked.
Terrible.
And the Lions sucked in the playoffs too.
Yes.
So it's this kind of thing of you have to
0-3
sell
in the
me.
playoffs.
Yeah, you have to sell me. If you're telling me it's not Detroit anymore, and your reasoning is the coordinators, but your real reasoning is you're just over it.
Yeah.
You got to sell me on why it's somebody else.
Yeah.
And I like Green Bay. The fans, honestly, shame on you guys sending us death threats basically for telling you that. I think it's a good team. It should compete for the playoffs. I don't see them winning the division.
Well, they were a 7 seed last year, and they had a cakewalk schedule. I don't know. What am I supposed to really expect from these guys? Because Matthew Golden came in? I don't know.
But it's Minnesota, too. It's a team we both really like. But there's a Jordan Addison.
3-game suspension is looming. You have Justin Jefferson is not practicing until...
Nope.
They're saying now until September.
Yeah, they're putting him on ice, basically.
Yeah, so he's not going to play until week 1 or week 2, and that's not good.
Yeah.
And then you have J.J. McCarthy, who's a complete unknown. There's reports that say he looks great in camp. There's reports that say he looks terrible in camp.
Because it's probably day to day, to be honest.
100%.
I'm a diehard Michigan fan.
How many rookies come in and win the division and win the make deep playoff runs the first year?
Jaden Daniels. CJ
he didn't win the
it.
division though.
That's right.
Philly did.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I don't know. CJ Stroud came in and looked really good, but also a bad division. They didn't have a Detroit in that division that year. They didn't have a, and then the Bears. It's a dumpster fire over there. Every day it seems like there's a worse and I don't think it's gonna be a dumpster fire ultimately, but Ben Johnson has the task of tearing down everything and restarting. And they have a good roster on their hands to I don't think it's going to be 2021 Detroit where it was who are any of these guys? Would these guys make a 53-man roster in any other city?
No, they have
probably
talent.
Not.
They have talent, but what he's doing is bigger than talent.
100%.
What he's trying to do is
the culture.
Yeah, he's basically coaching for the Jets.
I think your quarterback might suck. You know what I mean?
No, we'll get to the Bears. And we'll do our own kind of segment on the Bears. And this isn't even a knock on these other teams. I do think this division is very good.
Yeah.
It's
not the AFC West, though.
It's not the AFC West, and I do feel like Detroit stands a cut above the rest. They didn't lose their head coach. Their quarterback's been established. Their O-line. Yeah. Look, they did lose some pieces on the O-line.
They lost. Let me riff on this for a second. I have a lot to say about this O-line.
Yeah.
You lose Frank Ragnow, that sucks. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. I'm not gonna downplay it. That sucks. He was the second. I would say he's the first or best second center in the league the last 5 years. It hurts to lose. What I'm not super worried about is losing Kevin Zeitler. And what I'm really not worried about is Graham Glasgow. So let me drop some knowledge because a lot of people don't know this and they look at the O-line and they go, oh, the O-line's going to suck. Okay, let me hear you. Graham Glasgow was statistically the worst lineman on our team last year. He is forever been a right guard. He was playing left guard last year. He's never played that position before. He openly admitted to hating it because he's not used to it. It's not his natural position. He plays center a lot. And every time Frank was down, which was a lot, Graham would go to center. Graham is very comfortable at center. He's going to be our starting center when the season starts. He'll probably be our starting center all year. You know what Graham is good at? Staying healthy. So I'm not worried about Graham. He already has a repertoire with Jared Goff. And then at right guard, yes, you lose Zeitler, but Zeitler's 35 years old. I'm bringing in a 22-year-old who is every bit of as athletic as Zeitler, and I think his RAS score, his RAS score was 9.99.
Yeah.
He's a freak of nature,
And he looks like a big Joe Dirt.
no, he's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
at left guard, you have Christian Mahogany, who granted he only got 70 snaps last year. But
He was good in those
almost
snaps.
All 70,
Yeah.
he was disgusting at.
Yes, he was.
He was our highest graded. He was our highest graded lineman for the first game he started.
Yeah.
That's including Panay. That's including Frank Ragnow. That's including Kevin Zeitler that day. You know what I mean? Like it's just so. My thing is like, I know, and it's a little scary, right? It is still scary, right? You're talking about the
It's
interior,
real.
the interior of your O line that has been kind of your rock through the last few years, has new names on it.
Yeah.
That does not mean they're going to suck by any means.
Can I tell you why I kind of don't give a shit?
Tackles are good.
Well, the tackles are good, but not to like take your analysis and like crumple it in
Yeah.
the ball and throw it in the bin. But like,
Yeah.
here we go.
Sure.
Jamyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Jamison Williams, Amon Ross,
Fastest
St. Brown,
players in the
Sam
league, dude.
Laporta, and a rookie Isaac Tesla that looks great in camp.
Yeah.
I mean, again, like I don't think the O line is going to be as consistently great as it's been the last couple
No, I
of years
don't
for the
either.
first half of the
But
season.
again, same with the offense. It's like, okay, is the line going to go from the second best line to the ninth best
That's
line?
what I think.
I'm not really worried about
I'm
that.
not either, because you have the talent offensively to overcome that.
100%.
And you have a quarterback who was a late bloomer in his prime
Yep.
and has gotten the money and has now had the rise and the playoff letdown
Yes.
and the experience and
Yes.
is very in sync with this head coach, who they
100%.
did not lose, by the way. And I just feel like what we're doing here is we're taking these small things and we're trying to build a case because we're tired of the Lions. We
100%.
it's been too much Lions for people, and that's what it is.
Let me talk about.
No one's talking about them. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but like,
No,
I
no,
mean, I have to like
everybody's-
dig to find stuff,
it's
and I'm
crazy.
like, this has been
That's all right,
the
I'll talk
last
about
year. You couldn't turn on FS1 or ESPN without them talking Lions, and I even as a fan of the team, I was like, all right, enough, we're good. Like, this year it just feels sort of like it's just becoming this thing where the Packers are kind of becoming the
Yep.
pick, and it's just sort of like we're talking JJ McCarthy, we're talking a ton of Caleb, but it's like, yeah, the Lions lost both coordinators. I think they're going to like take a step back, and it's like, well, we'll take a step back from 15
they're not going to be 15-2, but
what does
they'll
that
be
look like?
12-5.
Yeah, but is anybody in the division going to have a better record than that?
No,
So
not a-
that's
not a-
kind of
not a
like
chance.
ultimately we're taking all of these different things and we're talking and we're talking and we're talking, and then come January, like we're going to be in the same place,
Well, I also
which is the
thi- I also
Lions as
think-
what, the 2 seed behind who?
Yeah,
Philly?
right,
Like,
literally. Like
I don't know. It's just silly.
Well,
to me.
and also I think it's really important to mention is that there's a couple of things that like the mass media won't talk about. There's a couple of things that like frankly you'd only have to be an obsessive weirdo like me
Yeah.
who just consumes Lions content constantly to really know, which is that like one, this is the most important thing. We don't know how much of that offense Dan Campbell was calling. We know for a fact that he was calling it with Ben Johnson. We don't know if it was 50-50. We don't know if it was 90-20 or 90-10. We don't know we don't know. We have no idea. And we're going to find out this year, but we do know that Ben Johnson was not calling the offense, just him. It was Dan Campbell's offense. And this leads right into my second point. There's 4 main pieces of who built this offense. Dan Campbell, this is 2022, by the way. This playbook was built in 2022, in the offseason going into 2022, I should say. Dan Campbell, the passing game coordinator at the time, Johnny Morton, who is
Yep.
now our offensive coordinator.
Yep,
who
and also part of the Sean Payton
who
tree.
went and was with Sean Payton for the last 2 years and had a lot to do with that Bo Nix success last year.
Yep.
Jared Goff, who's still our quarterback, and Ben Johnson. So you have 3 of the 4 engineers of this offense still in-house. John Morton is going to lean heavily on the run, which I think that Ben, rightfully so, gets criticized for abandoning way too early. I think he abandoned the run in the San Francisco game in the second half, completely abandoned the run in the third quarter, which ultimately led to our demise.
Yep.
And then when Jamyr Gibbs was absolutely killing the Commanders last year, you have a chance to go up 21-0, and you don't. Or
Yep.
21-7, I believe.
Yeah.
And you don't. Because you decide to throw a little out route on 3rd and 1. There's a botched handoff.
Yep.
And the Commanders recover it. And we were 15-0 in games that Jared threw less than 30 passes.
There was a formula. Yeah. And I'm glad you
We
brought
were,
that up.
we were 0-2 in games where Jared threw more than 30 passes.
Yes.
One of them being the Commanders games. I shouldn't know that. And you as an offensive coordinator, if I know that, I'm sorry. If I know that, you as an offensive coordinator should know that as well.
I think so too.
And any semblance of a game plan where we're throwing the ball with Jared 50 times should not exist. If Jamyr is having that much success on the ground, keep it going.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I also think a couple things as it pertains to coaching before we even like start to wrap it up here.
Yeah.
A couple of main points. I think the first thing is we talk a lot about like the clever of Ben
Yes.
Johnson. And that's, by the way, like full disclosure, he is clever.
Very.
He is like a smart,
Yes.
like up and coming offensive mind. And I give him all the credit in the world for that.
Yeah.
I think the trick plays are a little overblown.
Totally
I
agree.
get it's fun for the fans when they do the stumble bomb and they
Yeah.
do like the Jared Goff touchdown catch and they do all this stuff. I get it. The hook and ladder. We were in a game last year in Arizona. They did it, and you know it was like a highlight of the game. It's really fun to do that stuff. It's not the meat and potatoes of why this
No,
offense works.
Of course not.
And the second thing is with the assistant coaching stuff. What I don't like about the conversation around losing Glenn and particularly Ben Johnson is we are assuming something that has not happened.
Yeah.
For example, every single offseason, you and I know this because we're losers and we
Yeah,
sit around watching, you know, like who's moving where. Who's,
Yeah.
Every single offseason, without fail,
Yeah.
a Shanahan disciple gets
Yes,
hired somewhere
Sean
as
McVay.
something, or a Sean McVay disciple gets
Yes.
hired somewhere, or, you know, back when we were younger, it was a Belichick disciple
Yes,
every
100%.
cycle.
They never miss a beat.
And sometimes those guys are great. Sometimes they're good for a while and it doesn't work. Mike
Yeah.
McDaniel.
Yep.
sometimes they're awful. Romeo
Yeah.
Crennel,
Yes.
Bill Belichick,
Well,
right? All of Bill Belichick.
Literally across the
Patricia,
board.
go on
Josh
and on.
McDaniels, yeah.
So we are assuming that this Ben Johnson thing is going to be the end of the world.
But we've given him all the credit for the offense.
That's my point.
Yeah.
We've never actually seen, like the last couple of years, Glenn and Johnson have been there and they've done a great job. But we don't actually know how much they have to do with the success formula of this and versus Dan Campbell. And by the way, just to give like the doubters a bone here, you could be right.
It's totally
What I
possible.
have a problem with is preemptively speaking as though you are already right.
I have to see it.
A
have to see
100%. And by Thanksgiving, I will have an answer of
Because
what that is. But let's
so-
give it a chance because have the Rams taken a step back without all of these coordinators? I mean, San Francisco, Robert Salah went to New York. Like we've seen it time and time again where these guys leave and the show goes on. It goes on in San Francisco. It goes on in LA. It goes on for these Sean Payton. It goes on. Dan Campbell's a Sean Payton disciple. We don't know just exactly how much future success is to be had with new faces. We don't.
Well, and it's and you know, like this video is gonna go a little bit longer, but it would be you know, not in our best interest to ignore the defense too.
Every starter hurt at one
16
point.
guys on IR in our playoff game. 21 guys on IR last year in total. You lost Hutch for the entire year. You lost
Early,
Aleem,
by the way. Early.
or very early.
Yeah.
You lost Aleem at a crucial point. You lost Anzalone, who somehow came back and played in that Vikings game. You know, by the time you get the first play of the Commanders game, you lose Amik Robinson, right? You lost Carlton Davis. I mean, these are starters. Derek Barnes gone for the year. Marcus Davenport gone for the year. I mean, dude, we brought in guys from the streets on Monday against the Packers. Still won, by the way. You bums. And that was just something that was happening all year. Every week you were losing somebody. It was a sick joke. Frankly, it was a sick joke. And I give Aaron Glenn credit for, you know, keeping the defense afloat because I don't know who could have done that. You know what I mean? Like that's a tough mentality to have, to be like, you know what, we got to go out there and do it. But, you know, that's part of the culture that Dan Campbell has brought in. He's not going to bring in a guy as his DC who can't handle it. So when I look at Glenn leaving and going to New York, and then I see Calvin Shepard come up and no, because again, I watch all these things. Shep has been being prepped for this job for 2 years. I mean, Glenn said this forever, right? So this is no surprise. And then Shep is there talking and he says, yeah, we're actually taking the keys of the defense and giving it to Jack Campbell. We're going to take these from Alex Anzalone. We love you. Thank you for your time. we're not really interested in extending you. Like, I know you want a contract. We're not really going to give it to you. I'm going to hand these over to this, this 23-year-old who we just drafted in the first round last year, who I said on record 2 years ago when he was drafted, I said all pro in 2 years because that's how good I think he is. I think he's going to take a huge step this year. He's going to be the captain of that defense. You have Hutch back, who is, a top 3 defensive player in the league, probably. I mean, really, he's unbelievable.
Yeah, when he's healthy, he was on pace last year. I mean, it's a small sample size.
It is.
So feel free to roll your eyes if you're watching this and you're not a
That's
Lions fan. You're like, give me a break.
Yeah.
But if he would have continued even 3/4 for the rest of the season, what he was doing through the first 5 weeks, defensive player of the year.
Yeah,
Who got it?
easy
Surtain last year?
Surtain got it,
I mean, he would have won that.
100%.
Yeah.
And then you have, outside of that, you have Aleem's coming back. He's a month ahead of schedule right now, so we'll see him in October.
Yeah.
We drafted a guy who complements his game great in Tyreek Williams. You still have DJ Reader. You have a healthy Marcus Davenport. We'll see. You have Derek Barnes coming back. You have Malcolm Rodriguez coming back. You have, like I said, Jack Campbell taking that step. You still have Alex. I mean, we gave him that $250,000 bonus, so he's back and he's happy, right?
Yep.
You have not only, you got rid of Carlton Davis, you brought in DJ Reed. To me, that's an upgrade.
I think so too, especially with age. being
Terrion
considered.
Arnold, so far in camp, has been the best player,
Yeah.
like on the whole team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Well, and we a couple of things about the defense before we wrap it up.
Yeah.
We don't know, like we talk a lot about the offense, and for good reason. Like this
Yeah.
defense has not been world beaters.
No.
But two things: we don't know what this defense looks like with the combination of some of these more developed personnel pieces
100%.
that you just talked about, combined with health down the
Yes.
stretch.
Yeah.
And also, like, no disrespect to the boy, like the man, excuse me, but
yeah.
like we love Aaron Glenn, and I think he's going to do a great job, like turning around New York as much as he can. Because
Very stubborn coach.
It's the Jets where careers go to die. R.I.P. Aaron Glenn's sanity, but his overcommitment to man coverage at times, I felt like was a real
I
issue
totally
in the
agree.
passing defense.
Yeah, and he would
we
never-
got almost every week. If we played a good quarterback, it was a problem.
Yes.
And the ability to stop the run was a big thing.
Yep.
I thought the Lions did a great job the last couple of years with that, but. Look, you guys for yourselves, Lions fans watching this. If you don't like what I'm saying,
go watch the Bills game. Go watch the Commanders game. You tell me. Who
you don't
dropped
even
any
have to watch
passes.
the whole game. Just go on StatMuse and look up our defensive stats
It's
against
terrible.
the defense,
It's
against the
terrible,
passing
bro.
defense. So
Terrible.
again, I'm not saying Shepard's better. I'm not saying it's an upgrade. What I'm doing is I'm allowing myself the possibility that these are potential upgrades or at least
100%.
lateral moves.
Well, we haven't
team.
even mentioned the best safety duo in the NFL.
Right.
I mean, you have Brian Branch and Kirby Joe. Kirby's coming off a first-team All-Pro year.
he was excellent
And then
last
you have
year.
you have Brian Branch, who I believe is actually a better safety
I think so too.
than Kirby.
Yeah. He's more
So,
disciplined, I think.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. You look across. I look at this offense. I look at this defense. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say Super Bowl like I did last year because
Me neither.
Look at what happens.
Not
right?
doing
I mean,
that. Not doing that.
Knock on wood. Jared could get hurt in 2 weeks, and that's the season.
But
I'm
they're
not- I'm
on.
not
But
gonna
they're
do
on
that.
the short list.
But I will say I do believe in my heart of hearts this is a better roster than last year. And last year they went 15-2. Do I think they're going to go 17-0? Absolutely not. I think you're going to see. I mean, their schedule is tough, right?
Yeah,
But
it is.
That always changes year to year. It looks tough, but it might not be tough at all because there's going to be injuries that happen for other teams, and some teams are not going to be as successful as they were last year.
100%.
Yada yada yada.
Yep.
My thing is like when I look at this team on paper, the 53-man roster, I think they're so deep and they're so like it's all these young pieces taking that other step, that new step, and I think that they should win the division, and I think they should win the Super Bowl, but that's just me.
Speak on it. No. Yeah, I'm with you. I want to know where Lions fans are on this. Like, comment, subscribe if you guys are Lions fans, because we ride hard for this team, and we've gotten a lot of Green Bay fan hate, so we need you guys to come in here and counteract some of that stuff. But I do want to know where you guys are because I'm with Andy personally. Like I see a division title. The playoffs are the playoffs. I'm not jinxing it this year. I'm not touching it.
Right.
But we're talking regular season predictions.
Yeah.
I see 13, 14 wins, 12 wins at minimum, and I see a division title. And I have no evidence, and neither do you, Nick Wright, to be selling stock on this team right now.
Yeah.
I have nothing concrete. I have fantasies. I
Players
have
gotta matter,
fears.
man.
I have illusions. I have delusions of maybe this is going to happen. Maybe Ben Johnson was. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and go, maybe Frank Ragnow was that important. But I actually don't know anything other than what I've seen from this roster the last couple of years and this head coach. And I'm all in. I'm not selling any stock. I'm not going anywhere. No. So that's it. I'm not fucking leaving.
Oh, wow.
Thanks for doing this, man. That was
Absolutely,
fun.
man.
All right. Appreciate you guys.
Peace.